All right, take a look. It's raining on your screen. Just look at this question. If Tuscan's average rainfall is 11 1/4 inches and Yuma is 3 3/5 inches, how much more rain on average does Tuscan get than Yuma? Well, if you want to know how much more, you want the difference, we're going to have to subtract those numbers. Before we do that, I want to play a little with mixed numbers. So let's look at just something as simple as 7 3/3. Okay, remember what this means. This means 7 plus 3/3. But remember this 3/3. 3/3 is 3 divided by 3, which is 1. So this is really just 8. So I would never say 7 3/3. I would always convert it to this and keep it in simplest form. I want to show you that this works any way you want to do it. Let's say you want to change this to an improper fraction. You would get 3 times 7 is 21, plus 3 is 24. So you'd have 24 thirds, but 24 thirds is 8. Almost magical. See, this is why I love math. Not like English. It changes all the time. Okay. So let's look at a problem for a second. Let's look at 18 3/8 plus 5 1/4. You have two choices to do this problem. You can either add them as mixed numbers, which we haven't done yet, and we'll do today, or you can change these mixed numbers to improper fractions and add them like that. The only problem with doing that is those numbers can get really big. So I'm going to show you both ways, okay, and then you get to pick your own poison. Here we go. All right. 18 3/8 and 5 1/4. Okay. My suggestion to you is if you're going to leave them as mixed numbers, do these vertically so that the fractions line up and the whole numbers line up, okay? So again, as we did before, with fractions, we need a common denominator. So we look at the biggest denominator, which is 8, and we see if this number goes into 8, and it does, so 8's our common denominator. So we're going to do that right now. All right. So we want 8. Well, that already is an 8, so we just leave that 3. Here, we have to multiply by 2 to get 8, so here we have to multiply by 2, and we get 2 8s. Now we just add this. 3 8s plus 2 8s is 5 8s, and then we just add the whole number part, and we get 23. So 23 5 8 is your answer. And that's pretty simple. I actually like that method, because watch what happens when you do it the other way, where you change them to mixed numbers. Then your numbers get pretty big. But I'm going to show you you'll get the same answer. All right. It's like going to the mall 2 different ways. You'll get there. Sometimes one way is longer. It takes a little bit more time. Plus 5 1/4. Okay? So now we're going to change this to an improper fraction. 8 times 18 is 144, plus 3 is 147. So it's 147 eighths. Plus 4 times 5 is 20, plus 1 is 21 fourths. Look how big that number is already. It's going to get a little ugly, but we can do it. Okay, again, your LCD is 8, so we're going to leave that alone. And remember, generally I do fractions horizontally and not vertically. The only reason I like this vertically is because you got whole number part and fraction part. Okay, so we're going to have to multiply this by 2. So we're going to have to multiply this by 2. That gives us 42. Wow, look how big this is going to be. Now we combine the numerators, which is 189 all over 8. Now, I'm going to prove to you that this is the same as this. So here we go. You can leave that answer like that because it is reduced. But let me prove to you that this is the same thing we got there. 189 eighths. Remember how to change this? We divide. I'm going to do a little long division just to remind you, because we're going to get back to long division in a minute. Dirty monkeys smell bad, okay? Here we go. And it's raining, so dirty monkeys really smell bad in the rain. Okay, 8 into 18, it goes twice. That's 16. We get a remainder of 2. Bring down to 9. Now we have to do 8 into 29. 8 into 29 goes 3 times. That's 24 with a remainder of 5. So my remainder is 5. So that gives me 23. Remember how to do this? Remainder 5 over the denominator, which is 8. Oh, there it is. Sorry. Lost it. 23 5 8, which is what we got here. 23 5 8. So pick your own poison. You might be saying, why would I do this? This takes so long. Well, I'm going to show you something in subtraction that may make you like this better. I still like this, but again, do it any way you like. If this is something you're used to because you know how to do fractions, that's fine. Whatever you like. So let's take a look at some other problems and see what could happen when you do mixed numbers and fractions. Okay, whether you're doing this way or this way. 7 4/7 plus 8 6/14. All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do them all like this, vertically, as mixed numbers, because I think you know enough about fractions. So I'm going to just do it as mixed numbers so you can see all the different possibilities. Okay, so here we go. We need a common denominator. We have to see if 14 can be used, and 7 does go into 14, so that's good. So we're going to use 14 as your common denominator. Okay, so on the top, we have to multiply 7 by 2, so we have to multiply the 4 by 2, and we get 8/14. Now here, it already is 14, so we can leave it 6. All right, so now we're going to add this. 8 plus 6 is 14/14. 7 plus 8 is 15. Well, we cannot leave it like this. Your fraction here cannot be improper. Remember, if it's equal to 1 or higher, it's improper. So this is an improper fraction. We're going to have to simplify this. Remember what this means. This means 15 plus whatever this is, and 14 divided by 14 is 1. So the answer to this problem is 16. So that's the only difference when you're dealing with mixed numbers, is that you might get an improper fraction here when you add the fractions, and you're going to have to simplify it. That's cool. I think that's beautiful, but I love doing that. So let's do number 2. Number 2 says 9 7/8 plus 2 5/12. You want it harder, don't you? Because like this is too easy for you, right? Watch this one. This is kind of cool. This guy's floating here. Okay, let's get a common denominator. We want to see if we can use the 12. Well, 8 does not divide into 12 without a remainder, so we're going to have to take multiples of 12. Yep, 24 works because 8 does go into 24. So here we go. We want a denominator of 24. Denominator of 24. Okay, so here, 12 times 2 is 24, so 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, here, 8 times 3 is 24, so 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, so now I'm going to add 21 plus 10, and if you rather cross these out because they're in a way, that's fine. 21 plus 10 is 31 24ths. See your problem there? Okay, 9 plus 2 is 11. I hope you're thinking I can't leave that like that. Should be a little signal going off there, okay? Because now this is an improper fraction, so watch this. This is 11 plus whatever this is. Let's talk about what that is. 24 goes into 31 once. I'm going to subtract. I get 7, so that's 1. That's the remainder 7. So that's 1 and 7 over 24. Remember, you keep the denominator. So now I combine the whole number parts. This is a whole number. This is a whole number, so I can add that, like terms. That's 12 and 7/24, and that's the answer. That is so cool. Doing a lot of things there. Okay, we're getting common denominators. We're changing improper fractions to mixed numbers. We're combining like terms. Awesome. Let's do another one. All right, take a look at this one. Look, they're getting bigger every day, aren't they? Here's the deal. You can only do things 2 at a time, okay? 2 terms at a time. So we're going to add these, and then we're going to subtract this. A little bit of order of operations. So let's take a look. 6 1/2 plus 5 1/3. I'm doing it again. That thing's hanging in the air. Okay. Used to writing all the signed numbers that, just kind of floats there. Okay, so let's look for a common denominator. 2 does not divide into 3 without a remainder, so we're going to have to take multiples of 3. 3, 6. That's it. It's 6. So I need a common denominator of 6. Okay, so I have to figure out what I have to multiply the 2 by to get me to 6, and that is 3. If I multiply the bottom by 3, I multiply the top by 3, and I get 3 6. Here, I have to figure out what I have to multiply 3 by to get 6. That is 2. So 1 times 2 is 2. All right, so now we combine fractions. 3 6 plus 2 6 is 5 6. Remember, when you combine, you keep the common denominator because it's like terms. 6 plus 5 is 11. So far, These two added together is 11 and 5/6. Now we have to deal with a little subtraction. Minus 4 1/4. All right, here we go. All right. Oh, look, it's not hanging in the air. I did that right the first time. I love that. Okay, let's look for a common denominator. Well, look at the 6. 4 does not go into 6 without a remainder, so I have to take multiples of 6. So 6, 12. 12's a winner. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, sorry. All right, so 12's the LCD. All right. So I have to ask myself, what do I multiply 6 by to get 12? And that is 2. So I have 10 12s. I picked the wrong color. So what? 4 times what is going to give me 12? 3. 3 times 1 is 3, so that's 3 12s. Remember what I'm doing? I'm subtracting. So 10 12s minus 3 12s. 10 minus 3 is 7. Or if you want to keep going, I have 10, I owe you 3. Any way you slice it, it's still 7. And you keep the common denominator of 12. 11 minus 4 is 7. So our answer is 7 and 7/12. Awesome. We can make them really big and go across the wall here, but, you know, I don't know if you want to do that. Okay, let's look at one more, and then maybe we'll go to a different type. Number 4. 8 3/5 minus 8 1/10. Oh, this is going to be fun already. I feel it. Okay, here we go. We need a common denominator. I look at 10. 5 does go into 10 without a remainder, so 10 is the LCD. Okay, so I have to ask myself what times 5 is 10, and that's 37. No, I was only kidding, just seeing if you were paying attention. Okay, 5 times 2 is 10. Whatever I do to bottom, I got to do the top because I'm really multiplying the fraction by 1. 3 times 2 is 6. Here I already have tenths, so I leave it alone. Remember what I'm doing? I'm subtracting. 6 minus 1, or I have 6, I owe you 1. That's 5 tenths. And 8 minus 8 is 0. I don't really need to write the 0. Remember, this is not multiplication, so this is not 0 times 5 tenths. It's 0 plus 5 tenths. So it's really just 5 tenths. I don't need to write the 0. However, I really do need to reduce that. We want all our answers reduced. Remember how to reduce? You pick a number that goes into both 5 and 10, and that is 5. And we divide the top and the bottom by that number because you're really divided by 1. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 10 divided by 5 is 2. Our answer is 1/2. Awesome. That was easy. Okay, let's go back to the challenge question, okay, and see the difference in that rainfall. Okay, here we go. It was 11 1/4 minus 3 3/5. I think we're ready. Think we're ready? Here we go. We look for a common denominator. So 4 does not go into 5, so I need to take multiples of 5. 5, 10, 15, 20. Ding, 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 ding. 20 is the winner. So the LCD is 20. All right. So now I have to ask myself what times 4 is 20, and that is 5. What times 5 is 20, and that is 4. 3 times 4 is 12. See a little problem here going on? I see a little problem going on because I cannot take 12. Remember, I'm subtracting. I cannot take 12 away from 5. I'm going to have to borrow. Well, who am I borrowing from? Well, I must have to borrow from here. Okay? I'm going to have to borrow from that whole number. Now, I'm going to rewrite this. I'm going to show you what I would do. There's a couple of different ways to do this. I borrow this way. And we have 11 and 5/20 minus 3 and 12/20. Some people like to rewrite the fractions every time they make the change to the new denominator. That's up to you because it's less sloppy if that's what you like. Some people don't like all this stuff going on at once. That's absolutely up to you. Okay, we're going to borrow from the 11. So watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to borrow 1 from the 11. So the 11 becomes a 10. I'm going to write the 1 right here. Big. Not up here. It's going to look like 15. Write the 1 really big. Okay? So that's a mixed number there. Now watch what we're going to have now. We now have 10, and now this is a mixed number. I'm going to change to an improper fraction. 20 times 1 is 20, plus 5 is 25. So that is 25/20. That's what I have there, minus 3 and 12/20. So I've borrowed. I wrote the 1 here, just made this look like an improper fraction. So now I have enough to subtract. 25 minus 12 is 13 twentieths, and 10 minus 3 is 7. So 7 and 13 twentieths inches is the difference, because we're talking inches for that rainfall. Okay, so that's borrowing. Now, I just have to say this. If you don't like to borrow, you don't have to. You can actually change this right here, where we started before. You can change that whole problem to an improper fraction. If you change it all to improper fractions from the get-go, you don't have to borrow. But beware of that, because those numbers are going to get really, really, really big. Okay. In addition, you have to be careful if you're adding mixed numbers, because then you may have to simplify at the end if you get an improper fraction. So just be careful of those 3 things. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of other problems just to make sure you got this straight. This is in your workbook. Okay. All right. I have a rash here because, look, double signs, sign, don't like that. Let's change it to one sign. 6 2/3. I have, 6 2/3. I have 2 different signs, so I'm going to make it a minus. 12 3/4. Now let's think about what this says before we do it. This says I have 6 2/3 and I owe you 12. So I owe you more than I have, so you know from the get-go the answer is going to be negative. That's what I would do first. You also know that I'm going to have to subtract here, okay? Since I have to subtract, it doesn't matter which number you see first. You always have to set it up where the bigger number is on top. And then the sign will take care of itself. You know it's going to come out negative, so we're going to subtract these, make sure the bigger number is on top, and I already know my sign is going to be negative because I owe more than I have. Okay? But when you subtract, you have to put the bigger number on top. So here we go. We need a common denominator. I look at the bigger number. 3 does not go into 4, so I need multiples of 4. 4, 8, 12. 12's the winner. Ding, 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 ding. That's a poor ding. I have to work on my ding. Okay, so now let's build our fractions. 4 times 3 is 12, so 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12, so 2 times 4 is 8. 9 twelfths minus, remember you're subtracting, 9 twelfths minus 8 twelfths is 1 twelfth. 12 minus 6 is 6. But remember the answer is negative, so it's negative 6 1/12. Again, the only thing you might want to consider is right here where there's all this work. If this is too much work in your way, you might want to just recopy this and write 12 9 twelfths minus 6 8 twelfths if that's easier for you. Okay, just think about that. Okay, let's do a couple more with sign mixed numbers so we're sure you know what you're doing. Number 1, negative 9 2/7 minus 30 11/14. All right, here we go. I owe you 9 2/7 and I owe you 30 11/14. If I owe you and I owe you, I have to owe you. I know, it's just the way it is. So this answer we know is going to be negative. Okay, so I'm going to put that there so I know it's going to be negative. That's for me later. I know it's going to be negative. I also know I'm going to add these together because if I owe you and I owe you even more. So I have to add these. So it doesn't matter how you write it, but I actually like to see the bigger number first, though it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I'm adding 9 2/7. It's just a pet peeve of mine. I have a couple. Okay, let's take a look at the LCD here. I have to check if the bigger number can be used. So does 7 go into 14 without a remainder? It does. So 14's my new denominator. Don't forget, you're not done by just using 14. You have to work with the numerator. Well, 11, this is 11/14, so I can leave him alone. Okay, here, however, I have to multiply by 2 to get 14. So whatever I do to the bottom, I got to do to the top. Don't forget that 1. 2 times 2 is 4. And now we're going to add. 11 plus 4 is 15/14. 15/14. Remember to keep the like term because I have 11/14. Remember, I'll have to dig out my little fraction squares. 11/14 plus 4/14. I have 11 of these 14s. I have 4 of these 14s. So I have 15 of these 14s. Remember what that means. So this is 39 and 15/14. Are you done? Think about it. Can't be done. Why are we not done? Because this is improper. Improper. All right, here we go. I'm going to write this over here so I'm not getting too low on the board. This is 39 plus. Let's convert this to a mixed number. 14 goes into 15 once with a remainder of 1. Keep the denominator. 39 plus 1 is 40. That's 40 and 1/14. And the answer is negative, because I owed you and I owed you, so I still owe you. Don't forget about that. Do something with that so you know that's your sign at the end, because you want to be sign conscious. That's the biggest error people make. They're not sign conscious. Okay? Ready for the last one? Here we go. All right, number 2, last one. Do you ever notice that no matter how many I do, you're always up to 1 or 2 at the end? Because if we number them the way they should be, you might be up to 47, and then you think you're tired. So we're only up to 2, so it's an early day. Here we go. Negative 31 and 5/12 minus, could you imagine changing all of this, all of these, to improper fractions? This would be a nightmare. 12 times 31, who wants to do that? So I like to do them as mixed numbers. But I have a rash right there, rash time. Okay, sign, not going to have it. So this is negative 31 and 5/12 plus, double sign, they're both the same, changes to a plus, 26 and 7/8. Let's talk about how I have to do this problem. I owe you 31 and 5/12. I have 26 and 7/8. I owe you more than I have, so the answer to this problem is going to be negative. But I paid you, so I owed you some money. I'm paying you some money, so I'm going to have to subtract. Remember to put the bigger number on top. So here we go. Negative 31 and 5/12. In fact, I'm not going to write the negative there, because I don't want you to lose sight of what we're doing. Okay. 26 and 7/8. But we're subtracting because I paid you some money off of what I owed you. Now we need a common denominator. We look at the 12. 8 does not go into 12 without a remainder, so we have to take multiples of 12. The next multiple of 12 is 24. Ding, 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 ding. 8 goes into 24. So we get to use it. So here we go. 24 is the LCD. We have to say to ourselves, look, I'm talking to myself again. That's the only way it works. 12 times what gives me 24? That's 2. So I have to multiply 5 times 2. Whatever you do to the bottom, you do to the top. So that's 10/24. Okay. Here, 8 times what gives me 24? That is 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I do to the top. So that is 21/24. Okay. Now remember we're subtracting. I see a borrow coming on. I can't take 21 away from 10. I'm going to rewrite this problem and I'm going to borrow. But I'm going to remember somewhere. I'm going to remember that my answer is negative. Okay, so I'm going to rewrite this problem. Here we go. This is the most exercise I've gotten in the whole week. All right, 31 and 10/24. 31 and 10/24 minus, almost made a line now, don't want to do that, minus 26 and 21/24. Okay, I feel the borrow coming on. Here we go. Ready? I'm going to take 1 away from 31 and get 30. Put the 1 right here. Really big. Really big. Really big. Here we go. This is 30. Yep, I know. Erase the board. Remember, our answer is negative because I owed more than I had. Okay. And that's 24 times 1 is 24 plus 10 is 34/24. And this is 26, 21/24. Right? And we are subtracting. 34 minus 21 is 13/24. 30 minus, remember we're subtracting, 30 minus 26 is 4. So our answer is 4 and 13/24. But remember, negative. Don't forget it's negative. So negative 4 and 13/24. And that is the end of adding and subtracting with mixed numbers. Next time we're going to be solving equations with fractions. This is my favorite thing. You're going to love this.